money changes everything, right? It might sound cliche, but when it comes to marriage, it is true. Financial concerns are consistently among the top 5 reasons for divorce. Prenuptial agreements, also known as premarital agreements, are a great way to avoid money muddying your marriage. In this morning's legal brief, Nicole Sodoma here to give some answers on the most commonly asked questions about prenup. So let's start with the first question that everybody asks themselves, if they're brave enough to ask it out loud to each other, which a lot of people don't because they feel like it kind of implies that marriage is going to end one day. But people wonder, do they need one?
What I hear most often is that it feels like a love killer. Instead, I think changing the conversation and talking about it as a relationship builder is really important. You're starting this new chapter. You've come to the point in your life where you think marriage is the right thing for you. That in itself is sort of a contract. It's a promise. And so think about the premarital agreement as parameters around maybe that promise.
I like that. It's sort of like thinking of, instead of using the word budget, using the term spending plan, right? If you just sort of change your mindset a little bit around the terms. Now, here's some interesting questions. You got questions from actual people who were in these situations. One person asked, saying, we're getting married in a week and my fiance just handed me a prenup. What do I do? What legally can one do? Is a prenup something that you have to sign ahead of time, as the name would imply, or is it something you can take care of afterwards?
So first, a premarital agreement would need to be, and it's an agreement between 2 parties, which means that they both need to agree to the terms. Second, it has to be signed before your date of marriage. It actually becomes effective when, in fact, you're married.
Okay.
And usually they're going to deal with property. So if you're getting married and you have school debt or you own real estate, those are things that most often are going to be included. Also, whether spousal support is appropriate in your relationship. And anything else that's valid in North Carolina law. And these agreements are not a one-size-fits-all. We don't have to start from the beginning every time we prepare one, but they're not a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah, can they look into the future in terms of, I mean, you look at your current situation, but let's be honest, people's financial situation changes dramatically throughout the course of a marriage, even if it's a short marriage sometimes, so you don't know. I mean, does it always take into account not only what the situation is right now, but looking forward? Can you even talk about potential future children, child custody, that type of thing?
With regards to custody and child support, no. We normally do not include those. It probably would not be enforceable if you included provisions about your future children or future child support, probably against public policy. But there are things that we can include. But make sure that you've consulted with an attorney. If you've chosen not to use an attorney and you look at the forms online, remember that they're not one size fits all. And really it's about planning and thinking ahead. I've yet to have a client tell me that if I should say this. The people we divorce are not the same people that we marry. People change, and I say that often. That if we could look forward, you know, it's a little bit of planning. It's a hard conversation to have, but it's an important one.
But a necessary one often. Yeah, Nicole Sodoma, thank you so much for the tips. Great to have you as usual.
Happy to be here.
We'll be back.